as you saw from the topic or the title of the video, what is the problem with Kevin Samuels? So here's some background. I stumbled across Kevin Samuels back in 2020, like late 2020, early 2021. Around that time, I was actually working on this theater room. So I'll put a link, or not a link, I'll put a picture of how the room kind of looked. It was totally unfinished. And so I wasn't rushed to listen to a 5-minute sound clip. I wasn't like trying to just listen to, I don't know, a 30-second gotcha clip or something that would make World Star Hip Hop. I listened to it for the entirety of the show, just for the sake of having something in my ear to listen to. And I wanted something that was informative, engaging while I worked in the room. And again, it gave me a much broader perspective on his content as opposed to what you see those short clips. So I looked at his content and it almost, to me, it came across like a desire for a renaissance of the Black community, and which is exactly what we need. And it's something that I'm passionate about. Like, we have pockets of Black people in a very, I guess, in a very isolated sense. We have pockets or groups of people that are doing well. And I compare that to, like, if you're in a class, and so you may be in a class and you're failing. So you look at your grades, the breakdown of your grades, and yeah, you may have a couple A's, a couple B's, a couple high C's or whatever. If the majority of your grades are failing, you will fail the class. And so that's kind of where I see us as Black people. Yeah, we have isolated, what I would call isolated Black excellence. We don't have widespread Black excellence. That's something that, I don't know, especially within the on the women's side of things, there's this narrative like with the Black girl magic and with just Black excellence. Like, we're just doing great. We are absolutely not doing great. I can't be more emphatic about that. And so, like, his content kind of showed that we have a lot of work to do. And the gist of his message was, why can't women in general, but specifically, or in particular, talking about Black women, why is it that they seem to have such a hard time attracting and retaining the caliber of men that they want? It seems like it should be a relatively simple problem with a binary solution. Either the problem is the man or it's the woman. So if you're trying to attract a mate, or if you're trying to get married and you are unsuccessful at that, either there's a problem with the men or there's a problem with the women. And so what's interesting about this, in the course of his calls, he would see essentially, and the reason why a lot of people take issue with him, he would essentially hold a mirror up to these women's, and so like they could see the flaws in their thinking, and it also gave us as the audience, as the listeners on YouTube, an opportunity to see the flaws in their thinking as well. Again, this is, and a lot of people take exception to that. And that's not something unique by far. It's nothing unique to Black women, nothing unique to Black people. We have a culture in America that is very sensitive, overly so. And so if you can have a street preacher, or not even a preacher, you can have someone pick up a Bible, go to the most uncontroversial book and read some of the most uncontroversial passages, and people will still take exception to that. So again, when you juxtapose that with the fact that he's actually calling out stuff like plain, like women, all in, like modern women, and their, I guess the flaws that they have and all that comes along kind of with that, the liabilities that they bring, that's not going to be welcome. The thing that's really, that I feel like is holding us back, and is holding us back from meaningful relationships. It seems like Black men and Black women really can't get their stuff together and like unify. And going back to what Kevin Samuels was kind of trying to probe, okay, so the men that you say you want, those men that you are attracted to, that do meet your requirements, oftentimes they don't want you. That's it. But the men that are actually willing to pursue you, willing to take on your situation, your debt, your kids, if you have any kids, those men who are willing to take you in or take a relationship with you or be married to you rather, those men you don't want. So you're not attracted to the men who will take you, but the men who you are attracted to aren't attracted to you. So, and that's kind of interesting because it's almost like, so if you have a person, they're looking for a job. They go to company A, they say, hey, I submitted my application, I've submitted my resume, and they're like, we're not even gonna call you because you don't qualify for any of our positions. We don't have anything for you. Matter of fact, we may have a part-time position for you, like on the weekend, like from Saturday at 10 o'clock at night, from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. in the morning. Those are the positions that they have. The other company, they are offering a decent salary, but not great. A decent salary. They're offering stability, benefits, 401k, a pension, health, dental, paid maternity leave. They're doing all of that stuff, and you're saying, nah, I'm too good for that job. So that's kind of the dilemma that a lot of our women are finding themselves in. Another analogy, so you're looking to sell a home. So you consult with the realtor. The realtor says, hey, based on all of the information I have, we need to price this home at $300,000 to get it sold in, maybe not overnight, but to get it sold in a reasonable amount of time. Black women are like, I know my worth. 300,000 sounds low. Let's go 400. Despite the information that the realtors provided, despite the fact that they have comps in the neighborhood and the realtor is very familiar with all the upgrades you've done in your house, our women don't want to, they're very fixated on this idea of not settling. And my thing is, and I will say this is my first video, but I'm gonna say this a lot. How are you settling if that's what you actually qualify for? You're not settling if it's something that you qualify for. So again, going back to the house analogy. So you put the house on the market, the realtor will put the house on the market for $400,000, $100,000 over what they know it should sell for. And it's gonna sit. It's gonna sit. And that's the situation that so many of our Black women are in. They're sitting on the market. They're sitting on the market. And you would rather, let's see, there's a couple variables here, but people, let's see. So the neighbor, your next door neighbor, they sold their home. Person across the street, they sold their home. Someone 2 streets over from you, they had the same amenities, the same upgrades, granite countertops. They've got hardwood floors. They've got an in-ground pool. They sold their home, but your home still sits on the market. And it's either a problem with your home. Maybe your home has a tarp on the roof. Okay. Maybe you need to paint. Maybe the windows are busted out, and you want top dollar. And so the market is looking at you with your home, and the market is like, nah, I'm not paying for that. Men are saying, no, I'm not paying for that. That ain't worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And good women, contrary to what anyone will tell you, good women are like hot homes. Hot homes in this market will not be on the market for very long. So that's my assessment of that. So getting back to this, the problem with Kevin Samuels, it was not his sources, his statistics, his argument, or even his delivery, contrary to what a lot of people say. That has nothing to do with why women especially did not like it. It's ironic how our women in particular will take exception to what Kevin Samuels says, but have no problem being called a bitch, a hoe, a thought by all of their favorite rappers. And they dance to it. And they call each other a bitch and a hoe as a term of endearment. But it's a little bit different. So because they don't mind being called that, but they take, again, strong exception from Kevin Samuels and other men calling them masculine, overweight, and unmarriageable. And there's a reason for that. It is a bit like selective outrage, but I understand, because one forces you to take a look at who you really are, and the other one you can kind of sort of write off and really not have to, you really don't have to do any self-reflection or any self-work. Having someone call you out of your name is one thing. Having someone call out the deficiencies in your life is another. One is something that can be taken in stride, I'm guessing, and the other is something that requires or may cause some introspection. And so the latter is a lot weightier. And so I can honestly, even though I do think it is selective outrage, I can kind of see why women would be okay with having rappers degrade, dehumanize them, and yet Kevin Samuels and other men in certain communities speak to them or call out their deficiencies, and they take greater exception to the latter than the former. So I get that. But the fact of the matter is, Kevin Samuels, the problem with him is he didn't have gold teeth. He wasn't rolling up a blunt to smoke while he was on air, and he also wasn't in his mama's basement. Women would have no problem with that. Why? Because it's easy to discredit someone like that. It's easy to look at someone with gold teeth in their mouth at 50 years old, at 40 years old with gold teeth in your mouth, smoking weed, and you can kind of make an assessment like, yeah, this person really does, they don't have anything going on with themselves. You understand that. I understand that. The problem with him is articulate, sharp, clean, and pretty refined. He was old enough, interesting point, old enough to have life experience, but also young enough to be relevant to younger people, or at least a younger audience. He had the nerve to sit up in a Tom Ford suit with like all this decor in the background, with candles lit, and spraying $300-$500 bottle cologne, and talk about black women. And see, that, because of how all the things I mentioned, him being articulate, him being clean shaven, him having a suit, him wearing a suit rather, him presenting himself in a manner that commanded respect. That's the problem. That's the problem. So RIP to the Godfather. Please do, this is the first video, but I do ask that you would like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great night.